The following program is sponsored by NARI of Central Ohio. NARI is the local chapter of the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, a not-for-profit trade group dedicated to setting the highest standards for home remodeling. NARI members stay up to date through professional certifications, continuing education, and adhere to a strict code of ethics. If you're looking for certified, reliable remodeling pros who are committed to doing your job right, check out the NARI membership directory or see their award gallery today. Start your remodeling journey at trustnari.org. Remodeling is more than just nails and drywall. It's passion, grit, and more than a little bit of humor. Welcome to the Remodelers Roundtable, where we talk shop, share stories, and get to know the people shaping the industry, one renovation at a time. Welcome to the Remodelers Roundtable, a NARI podcast. I'm your host, TV's Ben Edenthal, and as you can tell, I'm not the only person in here, which is kind of the point of the show, if you've watched or listened before. This is Chris Speich, and he is from Speich & Company, the owner of Speich & Company, one of the founders of Speich & Company. And today, we're meeting with a large portion of your team. So we've got Brett Baker and we've got Kyle Paugh. Paugh, right?
Paugh, yeah.
Paugh. Okay, good.
Paugh,
all right.
yep.
I always get right where I say the complicated name, and I'm like, you're saying it wrong before I say it, and I freak out. So, well, good. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah,
thanks for having us.
Yeah, so enjoying the weather outside. It's nice, cool,
today
95 degrees and smothering humidity, but thank you so much for coming out. So let's start off. So Chris, you're the owner and I guess project manager, kind of falls across the board with everything you guys do, right?
Yep.
So everybody's a bit of a project manager to a degree, right?
Yeah, mostly me and Kyle run the projects. Brett is pretty much the operational side, growing the business, exploring those kind of things.
Right on.
So kind of works out because I like to be out in the field and make sure things are...
You're a hands-on guy, so to speak.
hands-on, definitely.
Yeah.
Don't want to be in office all day.
No, I get that 100%. You kind of get to a place when you own a business where it's like, I have this business to run, but I also sometimes just want to go and cut some wood and build a thing, and so no, I get that. So, Brad, obviously, do you build anything at all, or?
I think we're all a little bit hands-on. I like to get involved from time to time, but I'm not formally trained in that sort of thing, but kind of grew up around it a little bit, and I like to participate. So, Chris
on
has
an
taught me
IKEA
plenty.
scale of 1 to 10, like how cool would it be an IKEA?
Oh, I can do all the IKEA stuff.
Okay, good. All right, you're an expert as far as I'm concerned. So. Kyle, how'd you get into this?
Actually, it was an opportunity with Chris. I'd been working with Honda for several years on the supply chain side, and Chris presented me with a business opportunity to come over, help him out. He had come from another local company, wanted to start his own thing. So we were in a good spot. I went out and helped him, and it's kind of been history since, and that's been, 5-6 years now?
Okay, that was my next question. Yeah. So you started a business during the hardest time in human history to start a business.
2019. So we just hit 6 years.
That's great.
And, started it 2019 and brought Kyle on a little bit, I think it's like 7 months after I started.
Yeah, I was in October of 19.
Yeah. And Kyle and I have been best friends since like middle school.
Oh,
so we have that connection.
I'll mind that later.
I was in his wedding. He was in my wedding.
Okay. All right. Good. So Kyle, let's talk here.
Yeah, exactly. Got all the dirt on him.
No, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And has that been a challenge at all, like the friendship side of it?
No, not at all.
That's awesome.
We give each other brotherly love, occasionally, but we don't get all, it won't ever impact the friendship.
That's great. That's great.
You tell me what I'm doing that could be better, and I'll tell him what's doing, and we don't get all,
Right on.
Butthurt.
Everybody fights with Brett, right? That's right. Yeah. Everybody fights with Brett.
I play the mediator, yep.
He's in the middle of the text thread.
Yeah, very cool. So I've got a whole bunch of questions here. So let's start off, like you said, started 2019, and you guys have shown a lot of local traction and an active referral network. So you're in the AM spirit world. You're in, obviously, NARI, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that where you get a lot of your clientele and talk to people?
Yeah, a lot of referrals, prior clients. Obviously, we're still the new company in Central Ohio. So gaining the client base where you get more referrals, but a lot of referrals. We've really been starting to hit the marketing the last year and a half pretty hard to start doing that. So it's been really good.
That's the really fun part, right?
Yeah.
Is talking about what you do.
Yeah.
Everybody loves marketing.
I started I was like, I had to do the Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah. Were you running it yourself for
I
a
was
while?
doing it myself there for a little bit and, putting little fire emojis. The guys would make fun of me and stuff, but it's come a long way since then. So have people that have more experience do that.
Well, and it's one of those things where like doing it is the first step, right?
Yeah.
And realizing that it's an important step is, it's especially since 2020 when everybody's been just like, oh, hey, here's your media. Do your thing. Meet your audience halfway.
Yeah.
So Chris, you've built a business around creating spaces to live and grow. What is one room in your home that you believe grows with time and never stops growing? In a home, I guess, not your home, or in your home too, I guess.
I would say the kitchen.
Yeah.
It seems like the spot where everyone wants to come and hang out. It just seems like everyone wants to linger around the kitchen area.
Yeah.
So I would say the kitchen would definitely.
Is that kind of the bulk you think of what a lot of you guys work falls into? Is kind
Yeah,
of
a lot
world?
of kitchens, basements and bathrooms.
Bathrooms,
getting into some additions.
Yeah.
I would say that, everyone's seen it is just opening up your home.
Yeah.
Everyone's taking out those divides so that, you don't all have 20 people fit into a kitchen, right? You can kind of linger in different spaces, but I feel like that's the biggest significance that we've seen since we've started the company is just starting to take down and open everything up.
Yeah. Make the entire first floor a giant kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of seating and places.
Essentially, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and a living room in the middle of it.
Right. As long as there's a TV within distance of the kitchen island, you're
you can
okay.
watch the game and chat and any. Yeah. That sounds great. So your tagline talks about how intentional craftsmanship. What project was your nail that board perfectly moment? One that still sticks with you, something that really, you got it. You got ahead of it.
What would you think? There's a couple projects. I think the Paugh project was pretty good.
Pretty significant,
The homeowner had some pretty tight timelines that we had to stick with.
Yeah.
And I think we executed that well and within his timeline.
Yeah. And we did multiple phases within this remodel. So it was a kitchen, it was a library in the basement, it was a master bathroom.
What was the timeline for, out of curiosity?
Well, it's difficult to say.
Without being too specific.
Yeah, no, you're fine. We had a timeline in our mind that we had set up and gone through a calendar, and partway through the project, they had invited some family members over from out of town. So that timeline became a little bit tighter. So we had to put in some extra hours, some weekend hours to try and to meet that timeline before the family came in and they were comfortable living in that space. But
it also speaks to just the flexibility too.
It is. And that's, one thing we should mention about our company is it's literally the three of us. This is who we are. We're light on our feet. We're flexible. We can make changes. We don't have to go up the chain of command. Yeah. So it there are pros and cons, but that's a big pro of who we are is
just being lateral.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And we can pull guys and say, hey, this isn't as important right now. Let's pull everybody on this project and knock this out for them.
Do things sometimes slip off the plan? Does that happen fairly frequently with everything you do? I figured it was probably that way.
Yeah. Definitely. And especially remodeling, unforeseen things. And then, you got to address those things, but the homeowner obviously still wants it to be within that timeline.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to explain that to them. Like
right.
This will, this is kind of setting us back a little bit, but we're going to try to knock it out to, make everything so you can show it off to your family. It comes in town and everything. So trying to win essentially is, the best way I can.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I think when you have something that can shift like that, like home, and the idea is like, what else would be great? And if we had a big whatever. And, and I feel like the imagination could be a scope disaster if you're not careful.
And that's probably one of the most challenging things is setting expectations from the beginning. But then adjusting those expectations as you go. And we understand sometimes you don't know what you want until you start seeing the room come together.
Right.
And so we recognize we got to be flexible, but it also, then that conversation says, all right, how does this impact everything else?
Yeah.
And then are you okay with this change?
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What pre-visualization tools do you guys use to kind of help people see or visualize the space ahead of time?
I mean, we've gotten to a point where I wouldn't say that all of our projects have a designer, but probably 90% of them. And so leaning on designers to create those visualizations, also architects to devise the layout and the plan, and then the designer can come in and kind of show, the tones, the colors, the furniture, the material, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that's really helpful.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Is there a material you guys like to work with more than anything else? That's probably individual, I imagine.
Well,
Kyle's definitely got a favorite.
When it comes to exterior stuff, we started off doing a lot of wood rot, Boral. We like using Boral for exterior stuff. It never rots. If you go to Linworth or Straight Lamp, they have a jar as Boral in there, and they have a little piece that's been in there for 10 years. It's still the same. So
Boral is. I'm sorry. This is.
It's an exterior trim product.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people where we mostly New Albany, all those houses are getting to the age where.
Gotcha.
The HOA requires they have wood windows, wood siding, all these things that the HOA. Yeah. They've kind of changed throughout the time, with new products coming out, but we like working with that one. Gotcha. And that way we always try to tell the client, try to make a maintenance-free house, it would save you money in the long run. You might pay a little premium on the material, but you won't have to worry about it over time,
Yeah, no, 100%. That makes total sense. Do you have a favorite material?
I don't know a material, but I always love when walnut is brought in. I love walnut cabinetry, countertops, bookshelves, that sort of thing. So that's the one. I don't know. I love cabinetry. I think it's really neat to see those get installed. So
I would second the walnut. We've been doing a lot of it lately too. I don't know again if it's a trend that's coming back, but we're seeing a lot of homes. But I would say tile. I love watching tile go up, these guys cutting it, being so precise. It's amazing.
It's very satisfying to watch, especially in sort of a time lapse kind of.
And it's
come back and see the progress.
It's one of those things where it's like wood, you can't sand it down. You've got to make the right cut. You can't, if it's a bad cut, you've got to start all over again. So and
that all starts with knowing what the hell you're doing. Yeah. So, oh man, that's so. You started it a few years ago, and look how far you've come. Obviously, so what is one renovation or flip that you wish you could do over again? Not necessarily it didn't go right, but one you could do again so that you whatever happened.
One sticks out in my mind. It's a New Albany house. We actually this addition. We hired a guy that promised the world, and then when it came to him doing it, it wasn't up to the standard, and we had to go back and fix a lot of things. So if I could go back in time, that one would definitely be.
That's a cautionary tale too. It's one of those. Yeah.
And I think we all probably would agree with that one. It was the kind of the first edition. There was a lot of growing pains in that one, but we obviously came out better because of it.
Right.
Sometimes you need to do that, but there was a lot of Band-Aids that we had to repair, and I think ultimately, it turned out to be a good project, but didn't start off on the right foot, and that was frustrating for the three of us to work through.
Well, but a lot of times that's what really forges things, is kind of just building something out of adversity. Kind of something
just
that
taking a risk for us.
Absolutely.
Too.
100%. Yeah. What would you say is the most overlooked aspect of a remodeling project that packs a major punch on client satisfaction?
I've got an initial
I knew
thought.
that's going to ring a bell on that question for sure.
The project management, I think when the project gets handed over to the project manager, these guys know how to run a project, and the clients get to see progress, and they like seeing progress. And even if we make changes along the way, they're still seeing progress. But I think the timeline leading up to that handoff and the project starting, I think, is the most challenging, but also, I wouldn't say the most important, but I think it gets overlooked. And we try to tell our clients it takes just as long to plan a project as it does to execute. And so don't overlook the details of looking at your architectural layout, your design finishes, because we want to do things one time. We don't want to have to fix framing after we've done framing and gotten the framing design review approved and that sort of thing. So when we sell a project and those weeks or months that go into planning for it, those are very, very critical. And I think sometimes clients might think, oh, well, we're just ready to get started. And no, there's lots of decisions that have to be made that help the project go smooth.
I imagine it's a lot of decisions up front that don't feel like at first there's traction until those decisions start amounting to something, and then it becomes more of a thing. Yeah. What would you say is your favorite current trend in your industry right now that you're seeing, besides walnut?
I'll say something quick. I don't know. I just think maybe I've been in the industry now for just a little, like right around 3 years. I didn't know. I mean, I did a lot growing up in this kind of thing, but this old house is really all you knew. But what I would say that's cool is, I mean, I think it's kind of fun to, I don't know, log into Instagram or YouTube or social media. And I just think what you see and what's being produced out there by a lot of people across the country is a cool trend. I think, craftsmanship, building things like from ground, to the finish is just really neat to see.
So you're seeing kind of like more ideas that you see out in the wild of social media. And
just the exposure too of just construction, the trades, that sort of thing. I think is a good trend.
Yeah, like they're doing this out here. Why aren't we doing it here? Right. Why hasn't this been implemented yet?
Yeah, totally.
I think the pros and cons though, because then there's so many options, there's so many choices, and a client will come to you and go, "Hey, can you do this?" And it's something we've never encountered before. And we're like, we can try and take it on for you, but there's a huge learning curve and new materials or products that you haven't dealt with. So.
Yeah. Things like resin, stuff like that
any like resins, now they're doing 4x8 sheets of tile, so you've got to find a special tile installer.
4x8 sheets of tile.
I mean, massive pieces of tile. So there are, unlimited options when it comes to lighting or tile or any type of finish. It's just, it's insane. So sometimes you get thrown a curveball and they're like, oh, we really want to do this. And they're like, well, we've never done this before, but we'll try and figure it out for you. And then you use social media or YouTube or whatever it is to try and, all right, how are these applications being installed?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How is it being done? How's it being done well? And how's it being done wrong?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Constantly learning. Like it's never, you got the old school guys. This is the way we do it. And then you're like, well, I've seen this product, but they're always stuck in their old ways of like, well, this is the way I always do it.
Right.
But we're kind of like, we like looking for better ways of doing things, make it more efficient.
Yeah. Well, but that's smart too, because like obviously your clients and your customers are all on social media and they're seeing all of these things and being inspired by them. So like you can, shake your fist at it, I guess.
Yeah.
Or you can say, no, we'll figure out how to do that.
You got to be able to change and be adaptable.
We're telling subs that are stuck in their old ways, like we want to use this product this time. And they're like, well, we've never done that. And then it's like, well, now you got to show them the information on properly how the way to install it and just kind of train them on how it is.
And I mean, but there's a bit of material sciences that you have to kind of go through there and figure out like how strong is it or whatever you're putting together is.
Yeah,
so.
I think what Kyle was saying with the tile, like a lot of great products with Schluter, Weedy have come out like throughout the last 10 years. And instead of just going and doing your mud pan, now you got preformed pans that you essentially put it in and waterproof instead of going like there's so many different and instead of mixing concrete and putting the fabric in and all this now it might cost a little bit more money for the material, but you're saving it on the waterproof, the warranties and the time it takes to install it compared to waiting for the concrete to cure and all the processes going into that. So
So you mentioned designers earlier. Are you also the designers as well? Is that no?
No.
I mean, maybe when you first started.
Yeah. Like Kyle and I played designer there for the first couple of years.
Taken off pretty quick.
And kind of been using designers now, which has been great.
Oh, yeah.
Instead of us, we're spending hours, having conversations with homeowners of what they want. And, it's hard to, when you're first starting, to get the jobs,
right.
And, clients have certain budgets to keep it in. So we kind of got forced into playing designer, which we're not getting compensated for the times we're sitting there 2-3 hours at a time talking about different options and stuff. But we've figured it out over the years, and designers, especially with the selections piece, has been a game changer.
Yeah. That's great. So you emphasize accessibility and presence on site. In 2025, how do you keep projects accessible without losing control of the timeline or the budget?
I would say we've implemented a software, formerly Co-Construct, now BuilderTrend, that we're utilizing more and more with every project. And some homeowners are keen to it and some aren't.
Yeah.
It's a little tough, but it's got budgets in there that we can follow. It's got timelines in there that we can follow. It's got communication. We can store photos. And it's an interface between us and the client. So outside of like texting and email, we can go back and forth. Everything's tracked. It's been a really great tool for us. It's also an estimating tool. I mean, there are a million uses for it, and it's just us getting used to it and trying to hit it hard with the clients. Like, hey, we want to use this. This is the easiest way for us to communicate. You can see progress. We've got clients that currently aren't in the state and we're remodeling their house. So all of the information being transmitted back and forth is going through BuilderTrend, right? Payments are being, driven through their communications, photos. So I would say that's one of the...
Yeah, the BuilderTrend software is good. But then also just we have our weekly kind of operations meeting, our check-ins, and making sure that we're, hitting the timeline marks that we've set. And if we're not, what's the plan for it? But then also we take the notes from that meeting. We have weekly check-ins with clients, whether it's through an email or through BuilderTrend or, a meeting on site where we're walking through the project and providing updates. So we just try to stay, and it's the hardest thing to do, but it's the most important thing as far as just communicating. Just making sure that the expectations are all understood.
Yep.
And we've got that weekly check-in with the client. So, hey, here's your opportunity to voice. I've got a question. I've got a concern. And then the other thing I think is we do surveys throughout the project with the clients.
Yeah.
Just to make sure, hey, we're halfway through. Let's check in. How are we doing? What can we improve on? What should we start doing, stop doing, continue doing?
Yeah.
And that provides the client opportunity to kind of speak their mind, and maybe we can redirect for the rest of the project or continue doing what we're doing.
That's smart. I'm writing that down, actually. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. Do you have any thoughts on that? I want to write something else down here.
Yeah, it's like Kyle was saying, it's kind of hard to get them on board with the messaging part because it's so easy to just text someone and
it's another app. It's
yeah, and then you have pages of text messages that you have to scroll back to what. But
no continuity
on
through
BuilderTrend, if you can get it in the messaging, it's kind of the client says, well, I never said any of that. What I wanted. Well, we have it right here on the messaging. Oh right. Keeping that the kind of protect yourself too.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people that are like, well, we talked about this. And like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, there's lots of conversations throughout a project. And so the more you can document, the better for their side and for ours, just to try to keep it on the same path.
Yes, I'm very familiar with that phenomenon. Yes. So, okay. Is there a favorite reveal moment you guys have? Is there a favorite moment where like you deliver the project? I mean, obviously it's different because you're in the house the entire time. It's not like you show up one day and move the bus and everyone's like, oh my God. But like, is there a favorite moment where like they see something for the first time and you're like, I'm going to ride on that all weekend?
I'd say the cabinetry.
I was going to say, I always try to be on the project. These guys are there every day. I try to pop in, once a week or so. But when we install cabinetry, I try to be there because that's usually, kind of a wow factor for clients.
Yeah. Well, it kind of defines the room.
It
right?
does.
And it's like, depending on what it looks like, and especially how much of an upgrade and everything like that.
And that's the close to completing the project point too. So clients are ultimately typically happy when cabinets are in because they know they're close to the end.
Almost to the end.
It's tough though because since COVID, this big shift of work from home. So you don't typically get like big reveals. They're there when cabinets are being installed or tiles being installed or, so I don't think they get it as much, but it is really cool to see when
the wow factor.
Yeah. Or they walk into the room, whatever it may be, and like, oh, wow, that fireplace looks really nice. Or,
totally. Yeah, no, that's cool. I feel like just as an artisan of any kind, just the unveiling of the thing is always one of those highlights.
I think too, it's a lot of people love the after demo because they see the space opened up. They're like, oh yeah, this is great, But then it's that lag between demo to the cabinets that people are just like, I don't see much going on, but like the rough plumbing, electric, and all that stuff, getting it to where we need it to be. It's not, I guess, sexy, until the finished products are in.
And there's all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes too, with paperwork and all the other stuff like that.
So it's trying to, and people do the roller coaster ride with the emotions.
It's a challenging thing to kind of bring somebody along the ride for, right? And it's one of those things where like you really have to know what you're doing to make sure that is just an acceptable process to them.
Right.
So, So I mean, it sounds like you guys are knocking it out of the park. So congratulations there.
Yeah. And that's really a balancing act that these two guys do on a daily basis, is managing the subs, managing the project, all of that stuff that's going on behind the scenes, but then also managing the roller coaster with the clients. And these guys do. I mean, I think that's one of our best selling points is just their personalities. They're able to kind of work with anybody and have conversations and level with people and also deliver good news, bad news up front. But here's our plan.
Yeah. Now, do you guys have clients kind of separately, or do you work on them together and kind of cross on that?
I mean, I'll jump in real quick. I think it's something cool that these guys do that they've done since I joined, where they have their own projects, but then they check on each other. And they'll go help out each other or observe certain days, on each other's projects. But, if Kyle's on vacation, Chris is popping in, or even if he's around, Chris will pop in and Kyle will pop in and just, hey, did you think of this? Did you see that? Have you talked to so-and-so? And they just kind of keep a check-in on each other.
Yeah. That's cool. And I'm sure the clients can read that relationship there too.
Yeah.
Rapport, and that's so important.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's, it's been sweet. Like, you said, you get a bunch of different people you get to know, and, you got to kind of know who you're working with the client, and, getting the different personalities that you come across. So
it's kind of wrangle it all together and make a project happen, which is a whole thing in and of itself. So.
Yeah. I mean, you probably hear it from guys on the podcast. You're in with remodeling. I think it's so much harder than new build because you got the kids there, the family, the dogs, cats. You gotta make sure the dog doesn't run out of the house, and it's your fault because some sub opened the door and
like that's all defined structures that kind of like that defines like what your limitations are, and like you can't move the house or the wall that much further that direction because of whatever it is, or and just working around all of that and helping customers shepherd the whole process.
Just trying to let them know we're going to take care of you. It's going to be all right. We're going to try to keep the dust out of as much as we can.
There's going to be a lot of dust though. A lot of dust.
So I mean, you just try your best, and I think the clients will see it that you're giving it your all. They can read people pretty well. Especially if you're pretty much at their house all the time. So they'll get to know you pretty well.
I think that's probably the point where having that personal relationship with them and getting to know somebody means so much more than just having somebody come in to fix the plug on the wall or whatever it is.
Right.
Like having somebody there that like, hey, how's it going? What'd you do last night, Kyle? Or whatever it is. Right. Like that's so much easier than
we're in their house 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and it is weird. You become kind of part of their family, and then when you're done with that project and leave, it's kind of a strange goodbye. It's a weird relationship. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like customers couldn't be happier with anybody else than with you guys. So this is great. And thank you so much for coming in today. I really appreciate it, and great talking about your company, and look forward to see you guys at the next meetings and everything.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for tuning in today to the Remodelers Roundtable. I'm your host, TV's Ben Edenthal, and we will see you next time.
Boxland Media. Think big.